Rhodiola rosea is turning out to be quite the gem when it comes to overcoming plateaus. Now, in this particular case, you're notice we're not going to be looking at dosage right off the bat because low dose worked well in regard to endurance type events, where a high dose worked well for more explosive power, I should say 1 rep max, in this case, towards the third set of leg presses. And we're going to postulate at the end to why that may be, this biphasic effect. But I don't want to interject publisher bias early on, so we'll save that publisher bias to the end. So without further ado, let us begin as follows. All right, this was a randomized crossover placebo with a control, a placebo group, which is real important, placebo group, control, low dose rhodiola rosea, I want to say Rosaven, and high dose rhodiola. 200 milligrams was in the low dose, 1500 milligrams was in the high dose. So looking at this chart right there, you see 58.5% more endurance reps, and that's of course using both leg presses in the max weight as well as the endurance. So you see right there in the graphic, it saves time. And so you'll also too, this was only 7 days. So now the next graphic, just to show you, well, let's look at the study real fast. There's your full study as you want to delve into further on your own. Now go back. Low dose rhodiola rosea. This is what we're looking at. The repetitions to failure surge. It was amazing. And the repetition retention. So you stop failing earlier per se. You have better focus. And the velocity maintenance, meaning you're able to push the same speed. If you're in a gym, you're doing like a leg press or bench press or whatever, and you notice that slowing motion tends to affect you psychologically, well, that's the reduction in the velocity factor there, or maintenance, I should say. All right, now go to the high dose. So we're going from 200 milligrams dosaging per day to 1500 milligrams. Now the ratio again was 3-to-1 celularoside to basically Rosaven, and I didn't see anything about regard to tyrosol, so I'm going to leave that out. The high dose. So look at that, 47.7 kilograms more in the high dose, and as well as maintaining cognitive function. And as we look at the mechanistic actions of rhodiola, it will, how to say, light some bulbs up, which will give an idea of going, oh, now I know why that had that type of impact. Proceed as follows into the study. Here we go. Dose response effects of short-term rhodiola rosea, golden root extract, supplementation and anaerobic exercise performance and cognitive function in resistance-trained athletes, randomized, crossover, double-blind, and placebo-controlled studies. 4 separate groups. Rhodiola rosea, and this is the backstory, is a standardized herbal preparation containing rosaven, rosin, rosarin, and celularoside. All right. Of course, we may be missing a few. The sports science literature characterizes its performance effects as modest and outcome specific rather than broadly ergogenic. Because intake patterns can alter mechanisms and confound results, we'll go to NPR voice here, we distinguish between single pre-exercise dosing, short-term loading, and chronic continuous use. Speed it back up again. While summarizing prior work, the present trial targets short-term loading 7 days. In this study, anaerobic refers to short duration, maximal cycling sprints, etc., where resistance denotes external load tasks. In this case, 1 rep max, bar velocity, repetition, so on and so forth. Prior findings are organized by domain and test and sensitivity, and we evaluate both. That's the backstory. Now, some of the results as follows. Now, we're looking at the researcher blueprint. For those who want to go into a little more detail, there you have it. I want to pass forward a little bit because of limited time. Our statistical matrix, it's real important to me to look at the study itself. Look at those p-values, 0.001, 0.001. That is pretty phenomenal. All right, now this is what I look at too. This is what I pay a little bit more attention to, the healthcare advisory. Since rhodiola rosea seems to inhibit monoamine oxidase inhibitors, not the inhibitor, even though it appears to be an inhibitor, I don't want to make it give it a drug classification by accident. And the enzymes, MAO-B and MAO-A. Now, check this out. As far as it inhibits the enzymatic breakdown of dopamine and norepinephrine. Now, that's going to take a lot of alarm bells and go off, and you're going to have preventing that vulture sag. And well to the analgesic threshold. It seems to stimulation of the endogenous opiate system, raising the pain threshold. And that could give you more of that endurance effect or even pushing beyond the max. And of course, heart rate and blood pressure shifts were not there. And clinical contraindications, again, we only have a limited amount of time. Read through it. It's important for the healthcare professional. All right, now back to the study itself. So here we go. We're going to go to the conclusion. This randomized crossover trial shows that 7-day supplementation with Rhodiola rosea, 200 IE or 1,500 milligrams a day, caused dose-dependent improvements in resistance exercise performance, enhancing strength, endurance, and power without trade-offs, and produced significant nootropic effects on cognitive function in rested resistance-trained athletes while separating these benefits from perceptual or hemodynamic changes. These results, not observed in single-bout anaerobic tasks, highlight rapid central nervous system stimulant and neuromuscular mechanisms, or system, I should say, not stimulant, CNS, over long-term mitochondrial adaptations, aligning with emergent evidence of ergogenic potential, practically RR, may optimize training strategies, Rhodiola rosea, I'm trying to say, focus on fatigue resistance and mental clarity with excellent tolerability. Future research should investigate longer durations, biomarkers in different populations to improve the application. Again, so short on time. That's why you never hear me speak very slow. Please forgive me, but we have a lot of territory to cover. All right, now back to studying the study. There's our core technical specifications overall, and as far as the verdict in reference to studying the study. It's important because everyone says, oh, science says this or studies say that. Well, again, a lot's open to interpretation. And you need to be able to replicate the study as well, so this information is important. Layman user guide, the Endurance King, 200 milligram, 7-day loading, 1 oral capsule, 60 minutes to pre-lift. The Force King, 7-day loading, 3 to 4 oral capsule, 60 minutes to pre-lift. That's a great takeaway. Work with the healthcare professional to look at, and the consistency was important. But real interesting there, isn't there? Yes, there was benefits in regard to lower or higher dose in both categories, but to maximize those benefits depending on your objective or goal, there you have it. All right, future protocols, yeah, you got to drink a lot of tea, a Rhodiola tea, to get the same amount as far as the capsules are concerned, and as well too. Now, this is where you run the danger of when you postulate, you're interjecting publisher bias, which can be confounded by what you would call selection bias, per se. All right, so what we're looking at here is you're looking at the synaptic catecholamine sensitivity. All right, so what's happened is it's kind of like you have a nice steady flow. You don't overburn out the system. And then if you want to, you kick in the overdrive. Boom! You're taking 1,500 milligrams as opposed to 200 milligrams, and you get that max rep, but paradoxically, you're kind of flooding the system, so to say, like your engine. And therefore, the neural surge works great for the 1 max rep, not so much, for example, as endurance does for the lower dosage, which is quite interesting as well. So that's by postulation, the signal-to-noise filter. Again, that is incredible information. Rhodiola is having a lot of redundancy in the studies showing similar results across a broad spectrum. So it looks like it's really it really does have a lot of potential in the ergogenic aid realm, as well as, if you notice how it works in regard to other neurotransmitters, well, I'll leave that for you to postulate. Add your own biases in. Again, gratitude to the researchers. I am humbled you watch, and look forward to see what both you and I discover next week. Catch you all next time. See you then. Bye.